Hey, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up, what's up? Gracious good morning to you good people. It's your girl KB. You know what I do? And you know why I do it. It is hump day. Man, I love the middle of the week because it's like a period of time where I could just do a collective whoosah. These weekends are going by too fast, y'all. You know, we should have a national holiday to celebrate the weekend, and it should be like a week off. Or do like the European countries and just everybody vacations at the same time. You know, I remember back in the day just looking forward to summer vacation during the school year. And you know what? I want that month and a half or however long it was summer vacation. I need that. I think I've earned that. Yeah, but I digress. Let me tell you the time. It is 3:30, exactly 3:30 in the a.m. And I am sitting here thinking, I'm just going to get real raw. I'm going to get, and by raw, I mean brutally honest and telling on myself. For 2 days now, this thought has been in my head about how I saw these videos going and how I came about creating these videos during COVID. You know, first it was like these massive Hollywood productions. You know, I have filmmaking software. I have a green screen and the whole setup for backdrops. I have lights. You know, I have the whole nine for staging. And then I just opted to use my phone one day. And I've been more comfortable in front of the phone than I have in front of the camera because it's just too much work to set all that up. You know, I got into this saying I was going to be real raw, 100, brutally honest, totally autobiographical, in order to talk about what it is to maintain a faith walk, and just I want to say, personal awakenings during, you know, studying the Word. And there's a lot of self-discovery and self-work that comes with really wanting to engage in an earnest faith walk. And being in front of a camera pushes you to be really authentic, you know. And again, that's why I feel more comfortable in front of the phone than in front of the camera, because this became this polished product, you know, and it became work. Now, here's the story that I'm going to get into. It's about honesty. And like I said, I've been spending a couple of days. It's just popped into my head, and you know, beating me up mentally, because until I speak it, it's gonna bother me. And y'all who know me on a personal level know I usually speak what's on my mind, and let the chips fall where they may. You know, a lot of times I know I'm gonna be persecuted for saying what I think. But that doesn't stop me. And I have to say, as a kid, the adults in my life learned that I'll take a beating for what I believe in. That's who I am. And I'm going to stand on it. That's who I am. Notice I didn't say that's just how I am. That's who I am. I continue to be that person today. I will take a beating, standing on what I believe in. And I know I got a little too real for some folks because they didn't want to hear about, you know, the black experience. And it's like, I'm not talking about the global, I'm talking about my black experience in relating to people and interacting with certain folks. And that just hit home for some people. And I got all kinds of feedback, and most of it not nice. But I'm posing the questions. How are you going to tell me how to be black and live? That's one. And two, what do you know about my life? You have never asked any questions. And I have to share that periodically with people. You know, especially one particular individual used this statement. I think I know you pretty well. How? This superficial conversation that we have in passing. You know me? You know, growing up, it was oatmeal, miss meal. Did you know that I grew up in a house with domestic violence? No, you ain't never asked none of that. But you know me pretty well. You know why I'm going off on you right now? No, because you just assumed that the world revolves around you and everybody else is supposed to fall in line according to how you envisioned it. See, that's that Karen type of thinking. You know, this is my world and everybody else is just allowed to live in it. And, you know, the minute I get upset or go to the place of victimization, then the world has to stop and acknowledge my tears. Never mind that I've inflicted them. You get where I'm going? Some of you are going to say no, only because you don't want to deal and cope. You know, I posted this video, and it was humorous to me because it is a reality for many, many, many African Americans. And the video went that it was a patio setting in a restaurant, and there were a couple of ladies laughing and giggling, and then black women laughing and giggling. And then in the other table there was a black man. You couldn't see who he was sitting with. And they had a little jingle playing that says, basically, you'll never be lonely because white people are always in your business. And in the background, they had this white man just kind of staring at the couple as to why they were laughing and just glaring at them with this sneer. That struck me as funny because it's like people think they can ask you who you are, where you're going, if you live there. I know you've seen the videos. And when people refuse to answer, then police get involved. I've mentioned, you know, on my way home, first I live in what I call the burbs of my city. And it's not the burbs, it's basically the outskirts of the city near the ocean. There aren't too many black people there. It's predominantly working class, Irish, and Asian. You know, the tradespeople live out in the area where I live. And the thoroughfare getting to this area, the main road, speed limit is 35. I make sure I do 35 or, 38 at the most. Why? Because there aren't too many black folks out in this area. And people are zipping by and giving me dirty looks or, zooming past me just to get ahead. And it's like, okay. What people fail to realize or understand is that's just a speeding ticket to you. For me, it may very well cost me my life. You get it? When I was a kid, you used to have to talk about how to conduct yourself in public places. Then black mothers had to talk with their kids after the Trayvon Martin shooting. then, the talk became broader because of Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, Latasha, was it Rawlings or Hollings? That's the little black girl that was shot by the Korean woman over a container of orange juice that she said that the store owner said she stole, which did not happen. LA burned. But see, for most folks, in their minds, you get statements like, don't act like a thug and it won't happen. Don't talk back and it won't, it's somehow deserving when you're less than subservient. Where's your mental positioning about people of color? I'm going to keep challenging this question. I'm not going to hoop and holler. I'm just going to keep challenging the question. Where's your positioning? We claim Christianity, but our thoughts are so divisive. And I even have to catch myself. I say I come from a multiracial family, and I do. My first set of first cousins are half Puerto Rican. My second set of first cousins are half white. I've shared my DNA, my genetic makeup. African, Irish, and indigenous. And those are the majority numbers. There's some other stuff mixed in, and I'm sure it's from the European blood, but those are my main components. I have Filipino nieces and nephews. I have half Latino nieces and nephews. My family is very multiracial. I have half Japanese cousins. And each time I find myself going to these deeply ingrained racist thoughts. Yes, we all have bias. I have to check myself and call it out. Now, I will highlight behaviors in myself and in others that prevent us from having these conversations of healing. Notice I said myself, because there's some stuff, and I don't care how open-minded and how kumbaya thinking you are, this country, I can't speak for other countries, but I know it exists because people come here with the notion that, black people are this, that, and the other. And the N-word is in their vocabulary as well. So I know it exists, but this country lives in a land of make-believe. And we hide it in, denying aspects of history. We hide it in preaching a Eurocentric theology. We hide it in, the statement, I don't see color. We hide it in the fake kumbaya during our worship services. You've heard me say this, and I picked this up from another preacher, that Sunday morning between 9 and noon are the most segregated hours in this country. I want us to think about our mindset and our bias. And that's what I'm pushing for. It may make you uncomfortable, but like a good massage, once you work the kinks out, you're good to go.